A lot of people believe that there's nothing new under the sun when it comes to nutrition and exercise science. But anyone who studies science and keeps up with the latest scientific findings knows that that is completely false. There's always little things that turn up. For example, there are principles that are popularly believed that turn out to be false as research progresses. Nothing is written in stone in science, which is why science is called plastic. Plasticity means that it's changeable. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about in this video was probably the most popular protein supplement are the various whey protein supplements. And there's good reason for this. Whey protein has the highest biological value of any known protein, food protein. And there's three types of whey protein. There's whey protein isolate, which is over 90% protein, has very little lactose, so it can be used by people who are lactose intolerant. Then you have the lower grade whey protein, which is whey protein concentrate, which is averages between anywhere from 70 to all the way up to 90% protein, but most of them it's about maybe 80% protein. And then you have the whey protein hydrolysate. The whey protein hydrolysate is partially, it can be considered a pre-digested form of whey protein. It's partially broken down, the amino acids contained in the whey protein, and what that means is that the whey protein hydrolysate is the easiest to absorb of the three main types of whey protein supplements. In fact, a couple of years ago, they came out with studies showing that whey protein hydrolysate had a fantastic effect on increasing workout recovery. In other words, it decreased the extent of workout recovery from 24 to 48 hours to only 12 hours. Unfortunately, that the later studies that looked at the same issue couldn't prove that idea, and that original study was also tainted by the fact that it was paid for and published by people that sell whey protein hydrolysate. Why would anyone use whey protein hydrolysate? Well, some people have, let's say, a type of allergic response. There's two problems with other types of whey protein. The first one I just mentioned was lactose. Lactose is milk sugar. Whey protein concentrate contains a pretty good amount of lactose. So people who are lactose intolerant, if they consume whey protein concentrate, can get some gastrointestinal symptoms like bloating and gas, that type of situation. It's because they lack an enzyme called lactase, which is needed to break down lactose. I should also point out that, while I'm on the subject, that you have to be careful when you're purchasing whey protein supplements, because a lot of them are a mixture of the various types of whey. Whey protein isolate is probably the purest of the three. Well, whey protein hydrolysate is pretty good too. But whey protein hydrolysate is also about 2 to 3 times more expensive than the other types of whey protein. But whey protein isolate is the most expensive. And in recent years, sellers of whey protein or whey protein purveyors have kind of diluted the whey protein isolate by throwing in, if you look at the ingredient list, you'll see it starts with whey protein isolate, but it also includes whey protein concentrate, and sometimes they even include isolated amino acids. And there's no reason to include isolated amino acids in a whey protein. It's loaded with amino acids. And they add amino acids to dilute the protein so they could put in less whey protein, which has become increasingly expensive over the years, the wholesale cost of whey protein. So a lot of these, let's say, unscrupulous supplement purveyors will dilute the protein by adding in unnecessary amino acids like glutamine, branched chain amino acids. It's not that these amino acids are bad for you, but the whey protein itself contains plenty of it. Whey protein is 16% branched chain amino acids. There's no reason to add branched chain amino acids other than to dilute the protein. So that's something to consider. But what I wanted to talk about today was a kind of interesting new study that came out. This is the study here. It was published in the European Journal of Nutrition. It's at this point it's a pre-publication. I don't believe it's been published yet. So it's a brand new study. And what they did is they isolated a peptide. A peptide is a short chain of amino acids. It can vary in length from 3 all the way up to usually 6 or 8 amino acids in a particular sequence. Now, the interesting thing about these peptides is that both types of milk protein, casein and whey, those are the 2 main milk proteins, they contain a number of peptides that have been found to have biological effects because the way the body works, it can absorb intact milk protein peptides. In other words, they're not broken down. If they're short chains, like 3, 6, 7, 8 type amino acid sequence, they can be absorbed intact, and when they're absorbed, they can have biological effects. For example, there's a couple of, I believe it's whey peptides that have been shown to actually lower blood pressure that's comparable to blood pressure lowering drugs. In other words, they can actually lower your blood pressure. And there's peptides found in casein that actually slow down digestion. It's one of the reasons why casein is absorbed over a 7-hour period compared to whey's 90 minutes to 2 hours. And they also have a natural pain relieving effect. In this new study, they discuss a newly discovered whey peptide. It's called AJI-801, and it's found in whey proteins, and it has a couple of interesting biological effects. In this study, what they did, it was a human study, and it was a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover trial. That means that it was that's the gold standard of scientific studies. It's the most accepted type of scientific studies. The participants were between 20 and 59 years of age. All of them complained of excess fatigue and depression, and they were divided into 2 groups. They were given both whey hydrolysate, which contains this new peptide. This new peptide is what they call a decapeptide, meaning that it's 10 amino acids, all in a particular sequence. So it's not quite as easily digested as the smaller peptides, but apparently it can get in the body and exert some physiological effects, as this study shows. Now, what did this study show? Well, they gave the whey hydrolysate, they gave a dose known to contain a certain amount of the peptide, and then they gave the isolated peptide in the same dose. They wanted to see if there was a difference between giving the AGI 801 in the purified peptide form compared to the natural form found in whey hydrolysate. And they found that the effects were exactly the same as long as the dose was the same. And the dose was 2.5 milligrams of AJ1-801. And the dose of whey protein hydrolysate that would supply that amount of AJ801 was only 500 milligrams. That's not much. So anyway, what did they find? This is the interesting part. They found that this peptide can significantly improve mood status and decrease feelings of fatigue. In other words, it's a natural mood elevator. Now, what were the mechanisms? What is it about this stuff that actually can do this? Well, they believe, the scientists who published this study, believe that the peptide or decapeptide worked by increasing 2 particular substances. One of them is called acetyl L-carnitine. Now, acetyl L-carnitine might be familiar to a lot of you. It's been found in supplement form for many years. I take it myself. Acetyl carnitine is a specialized form of carnitine. Carnitine, as you know, the main function of carnitine is to kind of ferry short chain fatty acids into the mitochondria portion of cells where the fatty acids are oxidized. Simply put, carnitine helps your body oxidize or burn fat. Now, acetylcarnitine is a specialized form because adding an acetyl group to carnitine allows greater entry into the brain. And in the brain, studies have shown acetylcarnitine exerts some beneficial effects. It seems to stimulate the production of certain neurotransmitters, including serotonin and possibly dopamine, a couple of others that definitely affect mood. In Europe, it's been used to treat early stages of Alzheimer's disease. And so this peptide seems to substantially increase the uptake of acetylcarnitine. Now, acetylcarnitine, unlike regular carnitine, there's different forms of carnitine. Acetylcarnitine, because of the addition of the acetyl group, can enter the brain. Regular carnitine doesn't enter the brain as easily, if at all. Acetylcarnitine can enter the brain and be used in the production of neurotransmitters, and that explains its effect on mood. The other substance that this peptide AJI-801 seemed to increase is called FGF21, which stands for fibroblast growth factor 21. Now, what does FGF21 do? FGF21 is produced in the liver and in the muscles, and it has a number of beneficial effects. Among these effects, FGF21 seems to help prevent fatty liver. What they call, there's two types of fatty liver. One is caused by excess alcohol. That's alcoholic fatty liver. The other one has nothing to do with alcohol. It's called non-alcoholic fatty liver. Non-alcoholic fatty liver is in epidemic proportions now. There's an estimated 20 million people in the United States that have it, and it's epidemic all around the world. It's insidious because as the fat accumulates in the liver, it causes subtle liver damage to the liver cells or hepatocytes that could result in the next stage of liver problems, which would be liver cirrhosis or the formation of scar tissue in the liver. And the third stage of serious liver problems would be liver cancer or liver failure. So fatty liver is very dangerous, and like I say, it's insidious because you don't feel anything with fatty liver. The only way to know you have it would be to take certain diagnostic tests, radiographic tests that would show probably maybe a slightly enlarged liver, or where they can detect fatty liver. So like I say, most people don't even know they have it. It's very dangerous. And this FGF21 seems to prevent the accumulation of fat in the liver, which is very good for you. Besides that, FGF21 also regulates fatty acid oxidation. It actually helps you burn fat, which is, of course, of extreme interest, not only to bodybuilders and athletes, but to anyone who wants to control their body composition, in other words, lower their body fat levels. In a fasted state, and when consuming a high-fat, low-carb diet, this was a mouse study, the FGF21 was shown to promote weight loss. So in other words, it actually works when you're fasting. Your body will kick out extra FGF21, and it helps you, again, utilize fat as a source of energy during a fast. And when you're on a high-fat, low-carb diet, your body will also, the liver will kick out FGF21 to help you, again, burn more fat on the diet. So it's very useful. And of course, it promotes weight loss in that sense. Another interesting function of FGF21, your normal body fat is called white adipose tissue. Now, that's the majority of the fat on your body. It's triglyceride, white adipose tissue. Now, what FGF21 can do, it seems, at least this has been shown in animals, it seems to be able to help convert white adipose tissue into brown adipose tissue known as BAT. Now, BAT is called a thermogenic tissue because it converts calories into heat. It's called a feudal energy cycle. By converting calories into heat, it prevents the calories from being kind of converted into body fat. So having additional BAT, or brown adipose tissue, is very good for maintaining a lower body fat level. It's a controversial subject. I'm going to be writing about it in my Applied Metabolics publication. There's a lot of nuances to brown adipose tissue. There's a lot of misunderstandings about it. It's a very interesting subject. There are people or scientists who believe that adults, they didn't know that brown adipose tissue existed in adults until a couple of years ago. Previously, it was only thought to exist in newborn infants to keep the baby's bodies warm. But now they know that it does exist in the human adults, and there's a theory that human adults that have more brown adipose tissue have a resistance to gaining excess body fat. They tend to stay lean. These are the people that supposedly, you've probably seen them, they seem to be able to eat whatever they want, pizza and all kinds of junk food, and they never get fat. And it could be, and I'm not saying it definitely is, it could be that they have more active brown adipose tissue. But I'll give you a little tip before I write the article. A quick way for you to increase your brown adipose tissue is to expose yourself to colder temperatures or exercise in a very cold environment. That causes the body to step up the production of brown adipose tissue. I know it's not comfortable, but look at it this way. If you train in a very cold environment, you're going to be burning a lot more calories and losing more fat more rapidly. Now, FGF21 also helps prevent pancreatitis. Pancreatitis is an inflammation of the pancreas. Usually it happens, the most common in heavy alcohol drinkers. People who are alcoholics tend to get pancreatitis. Unfortunately, pancreatitis could be a forerunner to pancreatic cancer, which is the most fatal type of cancer. It has something like only about a 5% survival rate. The reason why it's so dangerous is pancreatic cancer, similar to fatty liver, is kind of a silent disease. You don't even notice any symptoms until it's in its later stages, and by then the cancer has spread throughout the internal organs, and there's very, very little that medical science can do for you. As a point of interest, Steve Jobs, one of the founders of Apple Computer, he actually had a form of pancreatic cancer that was a treatable form. In other words, if he had undergone the standard therapy to treat that particular type of pancreatic cancer, he'd probably be still alive today. But he refused traditional treatment, and he wanted to do stuff like fruit juice fasts and excess fasting and all this stuff that really didn't help, and he died. And he died because of that. But anyway, that's a little bit tangential to the subject. FGF21 also helps you control body fat by increasing insulin sensitivity, especially in fat cells. And that's where insulin sensitivity really counts, because the more insulin sensitive your fat cells are, the less insulin will be secreted, and when insulin is secreted, it stimulates body fat formation. FGF21 also suppresses carbohydrate intake. So it's great to have higher levels of FGF1 when you're on let's say a low carb or a ketogenic diet. FGF21 also, by the way, stimulates the productions of ketones, which are metabolic byproducts of fat metabolism that can be used as an energy source under low glycogen and carbohydrate conditions. Another way to increase FGF21 would be to consume certain forms of fiber, soluble fiber, which increase a short-chain fatty acid called butyrate. Butyrate increases FGF21. Exercise will increase FGF21. So if you exercise, you'll automatically get an increase of FGF21, probably because of the involvement of FGF21 in fat oxidation. But anyway, this study showed, getting back to this study, like I say, they found this new peptide in hydrolyzed whey protein. And I'm not sure whether it's in the other forms. It didn't say in the study. I'm not sure whether this particular peptide exists in other forms of whey, such as isolated whey and whey concentrate. Probably does, but I guess they wanted to use hydrolyzed whey protein because it's a much quicker absorbed protein, and they wanted to compare it directly to the peptide itself. That's probably why they use hydrolyzed whey, but I'm guessing because it's not discussed in the study. But anyway, by giving it the conclusion of the study, what they found was that giving this peptide through either hydrolyzed whey or from the or 2.5 milligrams of the peptide itself greatly relieved depression and improved mood. So it's very good for people that tend to, and also fatigue, feelings of fatigue, which is related to depression. It alleviated that too. So that again. This is just another feature of whey protein. This is a brand new substance that they found in whey. So I thought it was interesting. I thought you guys might want to know about it. So I made this video. And that's about it. Will they be selling online this stuff, AG1801? Will it be available online? Not so sure about that. It's a brand new discovery. But I'm sure somebody will probably come out with it eventually as a natural antidepressant and fatigue reliever. If you want more information on nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research, ergogenic age, supplement science, which supplements work, which ones don't, hormone therapy, testosterone therapy, all kinds of different nuances and misunderstandings about testosterone therapy. All this is discussed in Applied Metabolics. I also discuss women's health and fitness. I cover more topics in Applied Metabolics than any other digital publication, and there's no other digital publication that can match my over 60 years of constant studying and experience. So subscribe today, www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, send me an email, and I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolic Facebook page, where each day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and general health and medicine. I have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics webpage where current subscribers only can send me short questions about anything they read in Applied Metabolics or anything that interests them related to nutrition, exercise, and I will answer their questions in appreciation for their subscription to Applied Metabolics. So obviously it only applies to current subscribers. So again, it's www.appliedmetabolics.com. No ads, no BS. I'm not trying to sell you anything. And also, if you find these videos of use, please subscribe to my channel. It's free. I put out a new video every Tuesday. And let others know about it. As you can see, I'm here in this dark hole. There's no frills. I don't have any cartoons. I don't have any laughing faces. I just give you the facts. And if you're interested in just the facts, like the old detective shows used to say, please join my video. I'll never bullshit you. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not aligned with any supplement companies like 98% of the other people who put out these videos are paid, are basically they're on the payroll of various supplement or other companies to push their products. You'll never see me doing that here. If you want the truth starts here. Thank you for listening. I'm on my way. I already contacted a couple of rescue groups. I should have a dog shortly. When I do, I'll introduce him to you. Take care. Thank you.